Hey everybody, how y'all doing? It's Nathan Daniel Sharpe from the Spirit of Elijah Kingdom Church. And I'm back with another testimony. Now I'm going to rewind the time a little bit to about 2007, I believe. So in 2007, this was when I was, I was in the streets. I was still a God-fearing man, but I was in the streets trying to figure out who I was. And so I was incarcerated. I had violated probation from when I came home on one of my many times that God sent me to the Lions Den. My name Nathan Daniel, so that's where I get the Lions Den from. So he sent me to prison, and I was on violation. So when you violate your parole, you go up to a parole board, and the parole board defines how much of your time of your parole they're going to give you. So they can give you some extra years, depending at the discretion of whoever you go up, the little board you go up in front of. So it was in a DOC, the Department of Corrections in Baltimore, and I was in a cell with a guy from Baltimore, and I had a way more serious charge than he had, but he violated for like a small little piece of marijuana, and he went up before me, so he's my cell buddy. So we in there in this very small cell, and he came back, and he said he got 9 months. He got 9 months he had to do 9 months for a little joint of marijuana, and he went up with one of the guys on the parole board. Name was Clay. So I've been hearing about this Clay guy since I got there. He was one of the parole instructors, and this guy name was Clay. And he was like, man, he came in there, he was hooping and hollering, man, Clay gave me 9 months, and this, that, and the third. And I'm like Clay, but I'm saying, I got God with me everywhere I go, even when I'm, in situations like that. So I'm saying to myself, well, I ain't gonna get Clay, you know what I'm saying? Because God got me, I ain't gonna get Clay. So fast forward, now it's my time. So a couple days later, it was my turn to go up. So they put us in what we call a bullpen. So a bullpen is just this big waiting room, this big holding cell. So it's 42 guys. It's 42 guys in this big holding cell with me. And they all go up, they'll come and get you one by one. So they'll come to the bars, call your name, you go up, do your hearing, and come back. So before I tell you about the bullpen, when that guy came back, my cell buddy came back, and he said Clay gave him that 9 months. It's nothing in the cell but 2 bunks, a sink, and a toilet, and it's a real small room. And there was a Bible. There's a shelf where they got your soap at. So you got your soap, a Bible on this shelf. So it was nothing in there but the Bible, soap, a toilet, me and that guy in the bunk beds. So I grabbed the Bible and I would just read it. So for the couple of days I was in there before I went up for my hearing, I was reading the Bible. And there's a story in the Bible, I can't remember what it is. I'm pretty sure the Bible scholars might know which story this is, or what chapter, or even who the people were. But I read something within those days where somebody put their hand under somebody's thigh and prayed. I want to say somebody put their hand under Jesus' thigh or Moses or somebody, but somebody came into somebody's house in the Bible and put their hand. I've been asking people this for a long time. I still don't know where this story came from. But somebody put their hand under somebody's thigh and prayed, right? Well, at least that's what I read out of it. And so now, fast forward to the bullpen. Now I'm in this big bullpen. There's 42 inmates in there, and everybody's being called one by one. Now, I don't know why. I don't know if because my last name started with an S. I don't know if it's going in alphabetical order, but it felt like everybody was going before me. And people would come back, guys would come back, and they kept saying Clay. It was like, man, Clay, Clay was in there. Some guys would go in because you can refuse it and reschedule yours. So that means you'll just sit in longer, and hopefully next time you won't get Clay. Some people will come back, man, he gave me 5 years. Or some people come back, man, he gave me 2 years. Or he gave me 6 months, this dude Clay. Some people was going in there saying, man, I walked in, I seen Clay, and I told them to reschedule mine. So the whole time I'm in there, I'm praying. So I kept praying to God. Every time another guy would come in, I would pray. I would take my hand, because I just had read this in the Bible, I would put it under my thigh, and I would pray, God, please don't let me get Clay. Please don't let me get Clay. And the more I would pray, more people would come back and say, man, Clay did this, Clay did that. So it was going on for so long that I remember this like it was yesterday. I needed double time. I needed double prayer. I took both my hands, put them under my thighs. Now y'all can imagine this in y'all mind. I'm in a room full of inmates, gorillas, and all that. The scum of the earth, what have you. And I got both my hands under my thighs, and I told God this. I said, God, I don't care if I do go in there and get Clay. I'm asking you to move in his heart to rule in my favor, whatever that favor may be, to rule in the best favor, according to whatever it is. Just move in Clay's heart. I still pray prayers like that right now. If I'm going to the grocery store or something, man, move into people's hearts so I can move here fast. But anyway, I said, move in Clay, and even if I do get Clay, whoever it is, move in their heart so that it'll rule in my favor. So after a couple more guys, it was my turn. I walk in there, sure enough, it's Clay in there. So the guy Clay, older black gentleman, with a little bald head right there. He looked mean. He looked like everything they said he was. He looked like Clay. He looked like he don't play. Clay don't play. So I get in there. So they got me shackled up. They got my hands and my feet shackled up. So we walk in, and they sit me down. And there's another gentleman sitting next to Clay. And so Clay wouldn't look me in the eyes. He was just looking down, his paperwork. And he was saying, so, what's he in here for? So the guy told him what I was in there for. Now the guy that was next to Clay, I prayed on Clay, but I ain't know he had another guy with him. I ain't know there was another dude. This other guy was working totally against me. The other guy said he was running down the charges that I violated for, the crimes I committed to violate, right? And I hope I ain't losing y'all, but he was telling him, yeah, he's in here for this, that, and the third. And Clay, this mean guy, this guy that put everybody, gave everybody this time, he looked at him and he said, I don't care about that other stuff. What is his violation for? So he told him what my violation was for. And he looked up and asked me how long was I out before I violated. And I was like 4 years. So I was out 4 years before I had violated. I was actually almost off of it. And Clay wrote on a piece of paper, a pink piece of paper, I'll never forget it. And he handed it to me. And the guy that walked me out just was pulling me up. And so I was like, what do this mean? Because I wanted to know. They didn't give me no answer or nothing. And Clay said, I don't know what that means. The infamous Clay, he didn't even look me in my eyes. He said, I don't know what that means. And gave me the paper and they walked me out. And I went back to the cell. And, I'm asking people, like, what this mean? And everybody kept saying they didn't know. So I'm like, okay, so I guess I'm just in here. The next day, I asked the lady, I was like, you know what this is? And she was like, I don't know, but if you're going home, you'll be going home today. That's all you really need to know. And so I waited. And the shift changed, nobody came and got me. Next shift changed, nobody came and got me. It ended up being 12 o'clock at night, and I was like, all right, I ain't going home. So the next day came about, and I went, they called me down after lunch. So they called me into this room to see a case manager. I went in there to see this case manager. And as soon as I walked in there to see the case manager, she said, how you doing, Mr. Sharpe? I said, I'm doing good. She said, you going home today? I said, thank you, God. She said, to God be the glory. She was, a God-fearing woman. And she told me, she said, you would have went home yesterday, but I had a stack of papers like this. And I had 42 people. And out of 42 people, you were the only person going home. And my charge that I was in for was a little bit more bigger than the rest of the guys. But out of 42 people in that bullpen, I was the only person that went home. And that paper Clay gave me, he knew what it meant, but he had to give it to me. He didn't even know what was moving it. It wasn't up to him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else got time. Everybody else went up to Clay. Clay, God moved through him. He did what I asked him to do. He gave me that paper, and I went home. So prayer leads to mercy and grace from God to me. He gave me that paperwork. That lady called me in there. I went home out of 42 people. Even though that was a time in my life, where I was quote unquote messing up and stuff like that. But when I look back on it and I see how God had his hand on me and how big prayer will, how big prayer, mercy and grace and faith work for me. I just wanted to share that with y'all, man. God got you. That's my man Granville right here with the camera. He's so on the story. I didn't know how to end it, you know what I'm saying? But that's my testimony. I hope y'all got something out of that. I hope y'all enjoyed that testimony, and God got you for sure.